Hey guys, Tony here. Welcome to my home theater tour for 2025, where in this video, I'm gonna run through everything that I've done in this room over the last year, which includes ripping out my front wall, installing a roll-down acoustically transparent screen, inventing and installing my very own masking system which works, changing the aspect ratios depending on what you're watching, as well as an additional subwoofer which gives me 9.5.6 in this room, and that also allowed me to do Trinnov Waveforming. So guys, in this video I'm going to run through all of the things that I did, all of the gear that I've installed, all of the crazy ideas that I've had to turn this room into pretty much the best that I could possibly do it, so stay tuned. So guys, the very first thing that I want to cover off in this video is the front wall. I ripped out the front wall. That was the whole reason for this project, was because I wanted to have a masking system. Now you might be able to see, these are masking panels right here. So it is currently set to 2.39:1 aspect ratio. So when the lights are off and you're watching a movie, you cannot tell that there is masking there, and it is just like there's a CinemaScope screen in the room. However, when you're watching something in IMAX, something like Top Gun Maverick, where you want those big fighter scenes, the jet fighter scenes, to be at full immersion, these panels will go down and you'll be able to see it at pretty much the maximum size. But then when it goes to the more cinematic sequences where they're talking and they're in the briefing room, the panels will come up and then you'll get that experience as well. It works really well. I'll cover that off in a minute. But the first thing that I want to talk about is this roll down screen. And what is so unique about this screen is that it is a 135 acoustically transparent woven screen. This is a very, very difficult thing to do, and I didn't realize that when I was getting into this, how difficult it would be to get someone that could provide acoustically transparent but also woven, because I don't like microperf. Anyone that's watched my build series on this room recently will know that I was running with a different screen. Another company came and provided me with a screen similar to this, woven, had tab tensions, it had wrinkles all through it, making it unusable. I won't dwell on that because it's still an awesome company. They make beautiful screens, but in this particular use case, it just did not work. This screen was sourced through Screen Techniques, and it is a prototype screen that they built for me. I'm eternally grateful to them for setting this up for me. So I'd like to thank the team. Links are down in the description. I highly recommend Screen Techniques. They have a great reputation here in Australia. Everything is made locally. They're actually about an hour and a half away from where I live, which is awesome. And I actually want to go to their factory and film a tour of their factory and how they manufacture their screens. Now, before wasting any more time, I'll show you how it works. Yes, I've got a remote. I can program it through a control system, but just so I can control it here, I'll show you. The screen rolls up, and I have a little light sensor, which will trigger now, and then you can see my speakers, which go behind the screen. So these are the Krix MX10 Wall of Sound. I've had them for about 4 years now. Everyone that's watched my channel knows I'm a massive supporter of Krix. I even went to their dealer conference last year, which was awesome, and I got the t-shirt to prove it. And I've also got their speakers here, and my good friend Mick Stallone, he donated me a Cyclonics 12. And the reason for this Cyclonics 12 above the wall of sound is so that I can do Trinnov Waveforming. Anyone that knows about Trinnov Waveforming will know that it basically improves the bass in your room. It reduces the decay time. So you get rid of all of that boominess that comes when you're watching a movie, collecting in the corners. It eliminates the need to put in big bass traps and things like that to mitigate the bass. So I'll run over that later, but I thought I'd first of all show you the reason why I did a roll-up screen, because most people would say just put a fixed frame screen and be done with it. But now I can access the back, I can do things there, I can change the speakers out if I wanted to, not that I'm going to, but I can access them, I can show them off, I can use them for videos. So my specific use case is unique, obviously because I'm a YouTuber as well. Okay, the next thing that I want to cover off is the masking system. Now, I developed this masking system myself. I did want to buy a masking system, but none of them that I could find could do a roll-up screen and do masking, and also not cost a huge amount of money. Now, people may not be aware, in Australia, to get a masking system is extremely expensive. It is a little more affordable in the United States. Obviously, you have companies like Seymour and Stewart that do masking systems, but in Australia, it's extremely expensive. I can tell you, you're looking upwards of $20,000 to $30,000 to get one. I couldn't afford that, or I didn't want to spend that. I basically built my masking system, maybe about 1,500 Australian dollars all in on all the parts. However, where the system cost me the most was in time. It took me about 8 months to write the code and develop the code to do the masking system. And what is so unique about it is that my algorithm detects the aspect ratio of the movie you're watching, and it will move the panels up and down accordingly. It's not perfect yet, but it's very close, and it works. In most cases, like if there's just a CinemaScope movie, the panels will move in and it'll stay like that for the entire duration of the movie. But for the most part, it works, and it works really well. And that took about 8 months. So I do want to turn it into a product that people can buy. The reason that I want to do this is because I want to be able to offer it at an affordable price, something that the average person can afford to buy, and it's not going to break the bank too much. The reason I'm not giving it away is because of the amount of time that I spent developing this. I don't want to give it away for that reason. I do think that it's worth the time that I put into coding the system. That being said, I'm working with a company to help me bring it to market. Hopefully I'll be able to do that within the next year. That's my aim anyway. So why don't I show you how the masking system works? So I'll bring the screen down. Nice heavy weight bar. At the moment we have the CinemaScope mode because I've got the panels up. And one of the things that I did is I coded it for Home Assistant because, again, being an enthusiast, I wanted something that could be used by the masses. Home Assistant is free and it's for enthusiasts and people that have the time to set it up. Here we go. I've got the control panel for Home Assistant. I can then just press a button and move the panels. And you'll see it's quite fast. So this works using linear actuators, and these actuators are by Fagelli. I've imported them from the United States. They run at 3 inches per second, so they're very fast. You could see how quickly they move. Blind motors are substantially slower. Now, I won't go into the nuts and bolts of how it works, but basically, you're watching a movie, it detects the aspect ratio and it'll move the panels. You can also do it manually. So for example, I can press CinemaScope and you can see the panels move into place. And when the lights are off, you cannot see anything. It's just pure blackness. It looks like you have a CinemaScope screen. There are multiple aspect ratios. So obviously back to widescreen. And then you can do another one called Univision, which is 2:1. And this is a Netflix aspect ratio. So you can see it's a slighter crop, but if you measure the screen, it's 2:1. That's the reason I've got that one detected. And essentially, I can have unlimited aspect ratios. So guys, why don't you let me know what you think down in the comments section. Is this something that you would be interested in implementing in your room? Because I'm trying to gauge whether or not it's worth me putting in the time and the money to develop this into a product. So guys, the next thing that I want to cover off in this room tour are the curtains. Now, you might be wondering what's so special about curtains, but I really wanted this S-Wave pattern. I really like how they looked. I did see them in a few videos from a German YouTuber and they looked awesome, and I wanted to have that in my room. So Shannon and the team from Highland Shutters, they are local in my area, but they will service Sydney area. So links are down in the description. They installed these curtains for me. It is a really nice matte finish. They knew that I needed something that could absorb, but also allow the sound to pass through to hit the acoustic panels, which are behind, so that I could get the first and second reflection points, because being a small room, the sound does bounce around quite a bit, but as you can hear, there's absolutely no echo in this room. It's fantastic. So these curtains are a big part of that, as well as they did the curtains to have a motor in the front, so you've got that drama if you want, where the curtains will close and open. I'll show you some B-roll while I'm talking. Unfortunately though, just because of the distance that they had to go, I couldn't get it to go all the way across and still gather. So what I did is I got some tiebacks, and I actually think it looks nice. I think it just adds a little bit of a feature to the front, and I've got the curtains tied back. So guys, if you're after acoustic curtains, make sure you check the links down in the description. Shannon, he was really affordable. He did me a great deal, and I'm sure he'll look after you if you tell them that I sent you. So guys, the next important part of the home theater journey in getting the room to look the way it looks is the seating. And that's where Valencia Theatre Seating came in, and I ordered a set of PSNs of Luxury for the back row, and I have 2 Monza for the front. Now the Monza are my favorite design chair. I think they look fantastic. They've got the carbon fiber, German made carbon fiber here on the side, the 15,000 grade Italian Napa leather, so it's got that nice soft smoothness to it. I don't like shiny leather for this room. I think having the matte finish looks really good. These chairs come with 3 points of recline for the neck, the back, and the legs, so you get the full range of comfort and support. You have a high back, so for those taller people, I'm not very tall, but for the taller people, they can sit back quite well in the chair and their heads will be fully supported. Depending on how you recline in these, even for shorter people like myself, it's still very, very comfortable to have the higher back. Now, they do have the double hinge with the armrest. They're not as deep as something like the Tuscany, which you can store a lot of things in there. These ones with the double hinge do take up a little bit of space, but as you can see here, I've got my Trinnov calibration cable in there, so you can still fit quite a few things in there, and I've got my calibration microphone in the other side, and it fits well. So they do come with cup holders which can't be removed. These have LEDs around them on the inside and the outside. And one of the cool things that they've done, because for the design and also the distance, because of this section here, they couldn't put an accessory pin in there. So what they did is they offer this steel block. It's stainless steel, it's very heavy, you could do some damage with this. It feels like the weight of a brick. So basically what you do, it's got a hole in there and it sits in there like that. And then you can get an accessory holder like a tray table, and then basically the tray table slots in. So there you go. You can still use it, you can have your drink on the other side. So that's a compromise that you can make with this chair, which still works really well. So again, they are a big chair, like they're very heavy, very solid. Typical Valencia fashion, the frames are really heavy. Like this chair, to lift it, like I'm pretty strong, but you're gonna have to put some effort behind it if you want to move it. I know I had other chairs when I sat in them and you can tip forward in them. These ones, good luck with that. They are very heavy. You do need a couple of people to move them around to pick them up and lift them. And I was lucky I had the two Samoan boys come and they lifted them in for me. Big, strong units, and they were able to get them in place for me. Same with the back row. These chairs also have the button controls on the front here, so you have memory position as well. That's a really important feature in chairs, is so that when you sit down, you can just press one button and it will go to where you want. So I'll demonstrate that now. You just press the M button and you can see it's going to move the recline, the lumbar and the head to exactly where I need it for when I'm watching a movie. And yes, I know I'm very close to the front here, so it's not ideal to be sitting this close to the front. I'm aware of that, but I can still see. I've got a nice immersive image. My feet are still below the screen because of the way I did the heights and the distances, and it's very comfortable, and you can see it's quite solid. So then you can use the different buttons here to do what you need to do, get it into a position that you want. So next up we have the Piacenza Luxury, and these are brand new in my room. I've never owned these chairs before, but they are very, very comfortable. I have sat in the Piacenza. I did a room tour at a house nearby. I'll leave the link in the cards up above. And he bought the Piacenza Standard. And the standard ones have everything that these ones have, except they don't have the memory position, they don't have the colored LEDs, and they don't have lumbar support. But frame-wise, build-wise, comfort-wise, pretty much identical. These Luxury though, they do have the upgraded leather, so they aren't at the ultimate level with the 20,000 grade. These also have the same leather as the Monza with the 15,000 grade. Very comfortable matte finish. It's a smaller, snug chair, and when you sit in it, it's very supportive. Your head does go slightly over, even for someone like me, which does mean that your ears aren't obstructed at all with the rear surrounds. So I found that this is a really comfortable chair, but you also can sit upright in it, and being shorter, my feet do hit the floor, and I can sit upright and watch a movie without falling asleep. I have this problem, as soon as I recline, especially in these chairs, I fall asleep. So it's nice to be able to be comfortable while seated. They also come in individual, but I got them connected so that they would fit in my narrow room because it's only 3.6 wide. They pretty much have all the same features as the Monza. However, these ones do come with cup holders, which are in steel or aluminium. I'm not sure, I think it's steel. And this is a shadow chrome. So it's a nice dark chrome. And they can pop in. They also have the accessory holders. You can see here, I have my own remote control holder that I 3D printed, and then that basically can sit over it. So it's got a groove. It doesn't have the spike, but it's got the groove that sits over the top of it. So these chairs are super comfortable. I will leave links down in the description. Shameless plug, I am a dealer for Valencia in Australia. I don't push it too much, but if people are interested in wanting to come and check out the chairs in person, if they're in Sydney or if they want to travel, I'm more than happy to give you guys a demo. And if you want to buy from me, you can. So I will have links down in the description, as well as affiliate links if you want to support my work here on YouTube. A great way to do it is if you're in the market for some chairs and you're overseas, you can buy through my links, and I'll get a small commission if you buy them through my link. So no extra cost to you. So guys, the next thing that I'm going to cover off in this room is the acoustics. And as you can hear, this room is quite good in terms of acoustics. There's no echo. I am using lapel mics, but there's no echo. And people that come in this room comment straight away as soon as they walk in and we close the door, just how good the acoustics are. And I have a small room, so it could easily be an echo chamber. The thing is, on the back wall, we have the Art Novian CS range. And this is the Cinema series. I have the Valley CS covers. They have this really cool angle pattern. I bought them through my good friend Mick Stallone from Sydney Hi-Fi Monovale. I'll have links to his website down in the description. And these are my favorite panel at the moment. Like, I absolutely love them. You can get different ones. What makes these so unique is that the covers are acoustically transparent, but behind you can have different absorption or diffusion or blanks behind there. So these two middle ones, I have diffusers, so they can scatter the sound. And then the 4 at the top and the 4 at the bottom, they're absorbers. Now, if I wanted to hide my speaker, I could have actually recessed my speaker, put a cover over it, and had a speaker blank so that I could have the cover over the speaker. You don't see the speaker, but if you can't tell, I love my speakers being on view. It's just my thing. So I didn't do that in this case. But these are a great way to treat your room. I also have them behind my curtains. So they are acting behind my curtains as absorbers at the first and the second reflection point. Now, that really helps when it comes to things like bass management and also the clarity of the audio in the room. You're hearing things in a very clean way because you're not hearing the first sound, then the reflection of the sound straight after, which can muddy up your hearing and you start getting headaches. So it's a very affordable way to upgrade your room just by adding acoustic panels and absorption panels in your room. So guys, as you can see, I have my star ceiling in place, and that acts as another means of acoustic absorption in this room. So the ceiling is such a big space, and often when they're not treated, the sound can reflect off the ceiling. So this star ceiling was designed by my good friend Marty from Starz Design and Consultation. He's over in Western Australia, and I measured, because I'm in Sydney, I'm literally thousands of miles away from him, and he took my measurements and he worked out how to make these panels. He got them CNC cut to measure, and that way we have 8 panels in the ceiling. They all connect via a tail, so it's just a single tail that connects each panel to each other, and that provides the light. Each panel has a small LED chip in it, and those can be programmed to have different colors. So every strand in my ceiling is a different color. You can't tell because we just wanted to keep it like natural. So there's blues, purples, yellows, whites in there. They do twinkle. You can't do much with them at this point. And I don't want it because something that I realized with the star ceiling, when I did my first one, I had all these different functions and options, but I never touched them. Like, once I had it set to what I liked, that was it. I never touched it. So I will leave links to Marty down in the description, as well as a link to his video, which should be out by this time. If you're interested in a star ceiling, drop Marty an email. I'm sure he'll be able to help you out. So guys, the next thing that I want to talk about is Trinnov Waveforming. And as you can see, I do have Krix speakers all around. The ones on the wall are the Hyperphonics 45, and the subwoofers that I have on the back wall are the Volcanic Slim. And they're a 12-inch active subwoofer. And the reason I went with those is that they also match the subwoofers that I have at the front, which are in my MX-10, in terms of roughly the same sort of volume and also the same driver. So the reason that I have them mounted on the wall like that is because to do Trinnov Waveforming, which is a form of active bass management, a planar wave is sent down the room, and then the subwoofers on the back will match and absorb the frequencies and then actually send back a signal as well. So they don't just absorb, they actually do a bit of work as well. They work really hard, and for the size and what they do pack an awesome punch. Now, I will have a waveforming video, a dedicated waveforming video coming on the channel soon, because my good friend Michael Cox from Krix, he flew up and he stayed with me for a few days and we set it all up. And so it's worth having a video just showing you how it works. And then later on, I got the Trinnov upgraded to the 2.1 HDMI board. And so then when that came back, I had to rerun some of the measurements. So I will have a video showing how you do the measurements and how you can get in a small room like this. Even if it's a small room, you can still have awesome bass because this room does really suck when it comes to bass. Without any bass management, this room sounds terrible. So waveforming has been an absolute game changer. A little claim to fame here, I was actually the first person to reveal waveforming when I flew with Krix and Trinnov over to ISE in 2023, and they revealed their massive channel count with 16 subwoofers. And then I got to interview the CEO of Trinnov, Arno Labori, and I will put a link to that tour up in the cards above because that's a really cool video. Basically, these guys have done an incredible job, and some of the demo scenes that I did, like for John Wick 3 in the shotgun scene, Top Gun when they're doing some dogfighting, as well as my all-time favorite shootout scene, which is in Den of Thieves Part 1 at I think 1 minute and 45 seconds in. It's absolutely off the chain. There's two presets I've got in this room for waveforming. One is good and one is like off the chain, which is not really something that you would want to watch a movie in all the time. But for demos, it's really cool. So you can feel every shotgun blast all the way up the back of the seat, which in this room was not possible before. So I will have a video on waveforming, but that's something that I've got in this room. So when it comes to projection, I do have the JVC MP5, and it has been an incredible projector for my sized room. Where it lacks is in high light output for big screens, but at 135 inches, this is just an amazing picture. What also makes it great is that I am running the DIY home theater PC version of Mad VR. And what that allows me to do is keep my projector in SDR mode, and then I can tone map from HDR to SDR, so I do have the increased brightness from SDR as well as low sound because the projector is running in low lamp mode, and I'm still getting about 100 nits on the screen, which is pretty crazy if you're thinking HDR. The JVC MP5, awesome projector. I do have an announcement to make about JVC very soon. I will be trying to do a NZ500 review. I have done the NZ700 and the NZ800 reviews. They are on my channel. I will leave the links down below, but I really do want to show the NZ500 as I think it is the alternative to this projector if you want to get out of the bulb and get onto laser. So again, incredible projector, review coming soon on the NZ500. Right guys, moving on to the speakers. Not much has changed since my last room tour other than the fact that I have an additional subwoofer, but I do have the Krix Hyperphonics 45. They are a really high performance speaker, and I have them as my front wides, side surrounds and rear surrounds. And these can do a big room. When I was in ISE, it was a 10-meter long room, and they were using these as surrounds, and they did a fantastic job. I think they may have been pushing their limits, but at 10 meters, but they were unbelievable in what they were able to do, and the amount of SPL they were able to push out. These are my speakers of choice. They will never be changing in this room anyway. I do have the Volcanic Slims, as I mentioned earlier, 12-inch driver, active, so they've got built-in amplifiers, and then behind the screen, I have the MX-10s. So as you can see, we have the MX-10s here and also the Cyclonics 12. So these are all passive, so they require amplifiers. I will show you the rack very shortly, but these are also a 12-inch driver for the subwoofers, and they complement the other subwoofers that I've got, such as the Cyclonics 12, which is essentially the same as this, but doesn't have the acoustic front on it. These have acoustic absorbent material on the front to allow for sound reflections to be reabsorbed. It's not really going to matter for this sub, so it's fine. But it was important for me to have matching subwoofers in this room. So then we come to these spacer panels. So the spacer panels here have a hole here, and they can absorb, and that's filled with absorbent material. And then basically the sound goes back in and gets reabsorbed and creates that infinite baffle so that you don't have a place for the sound to go between and bounce around and make additional reflections. Now the main LCR of the MX-10, we have a 10-inch driver and we have a waveguide here. So this gives, I think, what I can only describe as a cinematic sound to the room. When you go to the movies and you have that cinema feel, that sparkle, that sizzle, that's what I especially love about the MX products, and something that is consistent with even from the MX-5 all the way up to the MX-40. It's just some magic behind the way that this system is designed. Anyone that owns an MX series will tell you that you just get that cinema feeling in your own home. And that's not to say that standard cabinet speakers or tower speakers can't do that, but there's just something special about these and the way that they produce their sound. It's magic. And also, like I said, it allows you to have that infinite baffle. There can be issues with people having the subs in place. And that's one of the criticisms people make about this, is that you're forced to put the subs where you need to. However, you can put additional subs in the room to help mitigate that, which is also a standard practice. Even if you can place subs in the front, outside of an MX system, you still want to have more than 2 subs. You still want to have other subs around the room because it really helps you to dial it in. It just so happens that this is the configuration and what people have done in their rooms. And I find that this is the perfect solution for someone like me. And I dare say quite a few of you out there that have bought these. So guys, to cap off the tour, I'm going to show you my AV system. So I do have all of my networking equipment in this rack here. I do have my MadVR home theater PC, and this one also controls my masking system. I have a number of Synology NASs here as well, and they do various things like run my cameras as well as my movie server and a few other things. My networking equipment is up here, controls cameras, access points, and a bunch of other things. And then we move over to my AV rack. Now, these racks I purchased from VFM Group up in Queensland. Very affordable AV rack. They're 600 millimeters deep, which is, and 19 inches wide, which is the standard for AV. They will fit most AV products in a rack of this size. So, starting at the top, I have my Sanus task light. You can see it just allows me to have a little bit extra light. And I've got some tube lighting back here as well, which just light up the sides. I don't have any for the bottom, but I might put some Govee LEDs in there. I have my Zidu UHD 8000. This is the flagship Zidu rack mounted product. It's their best one yet. Absolutely love it. Does Dolby Vision, 8K, pass-through bit stream, does everything. It's really fast, really crisp, has an AI upscaler as well. So it can actually improve the image on the fly, and I've tested it, it looks pretty cool. I have a couple of blanks here just to allow a shelf, because on the shelf I have things like my HD Fury VR room, as well as my Harmony and Apple TV, and an NVIDIA Shield. And then in here I have my 2 DAC Magics. And the reason I have the DAC Magics is that they allow me to extend on the Trinnov to +4. So that is what allows me to get additional channels in here, and that's been really cool. So an altitude 16 is generally only 16 channels. With the 4 you get 20 channels for free, mind you. Obviously you have to get the DAC Magics, but outside of that you have a really good channel count with and economy with the altitude 16, which is this one here. And this has also had the HDMI board upgraded to 2.1, so it's future-proof. Now underneath here I have 2 Krix amplifiers, and these are subwoofer amplifiers. These ones can do the MX5 and the MX10, Cyclonics 11 and 12, and they can do up to 700 watts in mode 3. So you can pick mode 3, and then if your sub goes up to 700 watts, you can use these subs to drive it. All the filters and low pass, high pass, everything's built in, so you don't have to worry about that. And yeah, these have been a great sub, nice and quiet. They can go in a living room situation because they're not big and noisy. I did have the Yamaha PX in here, the PX series, and they were loud and noisy, and they had big handles on the front, so they're built for racks. These are fanless, so they're very quiet. Underneath that, I have my AC Infinity cooling, and these are all daisy chained, so they talk to each other, and they're thermostat control, and they'll kick in as need be to keep the rack nice and cool. These ones all blow out, so they blow the air out, and generally for ventilation reasons, and again because it's away from the main room, I can have these doors open when it's on, and it just keeps everything nice and cool. You can see even under load it's sitting at 30 degrees or under Celsius, which is pretty good. Now these are my favorite amps. I love these amps. These are the Krix badged Encore or Electra Theatre HD2s made by Arthur Rapos from Electra, and these power my LCR and my surrounds and overhead speakers, which I forgot to mention in the video. I have overhead speakers which are the IC52s, the angled ones. I forgot to mention them, so I might put some B-roll overlay just showing them. They're in the coffered ceiling. So that rounds out the AV rack. So guys, you're seeing my studio from a different angle, and I just wanted to say that the final sponsor of my video series that I did is Govee. Govee is an amazing company that provided me with all the lighting. They provided it for me as a sponsorship, so I didn't have to buy any of the lighting for the room. So I really want to say a big thank you to Govee. I absolutely love their products. I have been showcasing them for over 4 years before they were even known about, because when I got the first one and I tested it, it just worked. Like there was no dropouts like I had with my previous lighting system. Everything just worked. And then over the years, they've just been innovating and bringing out new products to the market. And this one is the one that goes around my lighting for the curtains. Awesome product. I will leave links to Govee down in the description. Not affiliate links, they're just, I've got links to them. And generally that's the way it's always been with Govee. And I am very grateful that they provided me the lighting because it saved me quite a lot of money and got me the room to where it needs to be. So in terms of automation for the room, I'll talk about that and I'll show you some B-roll overlay. There is a sensor at the door. So as soon as I open the door, it turns the lighting on in the room to a preset, which isn't too bright, nice and comfortable so that when you walk in, you can still see where you're going. Now, when you close the door, basically the lighting turns off, which is really cool. So you can go into the room, turn the projector on, and then just go and close the door, and then you'll still be able to see where you're going. And that's something that you can control through the app. I've also got the various motion sensors, as I discussed, all of the coffered ceiling lighting, as well as the step tread, and at the back wall, I do have Govee lights there as well. Everything is automated through the Govee app, and also they provided me with these little remote controls. And the remote controls allow me to have different presets and turn the room into various modes off and on. So I'll leave links to all the Govee products down in the description below. I'd like to thank them again for sponsoring this part of the video. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this room tour. It's been a long time coming, and basically there's a number of people that I need to thank before I sign off on the video. The first one is my good friend Leo, and he has been a sounding board to me over the last year while I've been doing this room. I've done several videos with Leo, including the JVC videos. He's a top friend of mine and someone that I talk to almost every day. Another person I'd like to thank is my other friend Ben. We're mutual friends with Leo, and he helped me out with the front wall and getting the front wall built and all of the panels at the front with the nice fabric, which I've covered off in previous videos. Also like to thank my friend Chris. He's the jib rocker or sheet rocker, I don't know what they're called in America, but he helped me out with the demolition of the front wall and setting the jib rock on the sides and getting the plinth built for the speakers. So awesome, thank you very much. Also like to thank my good friend Michael from Krix. He's been with me from the start on my YouTube journey. Without him, I don't think I would have been able to get as far as I did in this hobby. In terms of knowledge, he's been very generous with his time. He's come over to my house twice now, and I've stayed with him when I've gone down to Adelaide. And yeah, I'd like to say thank you to Michael for helping me get the room to where it is. Also, my good friend Mick Stallone, you're another person that is very special to me in terms of both the YouTube journey as well as the home theater hobby. You've been a great friend and someone that has been able to help me out with getting the room to where it is, with your knowledge and experience as well, and also selling me at a very affordable price to be able to afford to put the gear into my room. So guys, again, a very big thank you for watching this room tour video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below letting me know what you think. And it is a slightly longer than normal video, but I felt that rather than script it and do my normal style, I'd talk you through the various things that I have done in the room. Any comments, leave them down below. Any feedback, leave it down below. Good or bad, I'm thick-skinned, thinner skinned than I have been in the past. I've lost quite a bit of weight from all the training that I've been doing. And I just want to thank everyone for following along in my home theater journey. I do have some massive announcements coming about a business venture that I'm embarking on, and I'm very excited about it. A few of you know about it, and I'm very nervous to reveal what it is, but excited at the same time. So stay tuned for that one. But that's it for this one. You'll catch me in the next one. Bye for now.